Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. IRS to employers. Remember, February 1st, 2020 deadline for Form W-2 other wages statements. IR 2020-269, December 3rd, 2020, Washington. The Internal Revenue Service today reminded employers that they must file Form W-2 and other wage statements by February 1st, 2021 to avoid penalties and help the IRS prevent fraud. A 2015 law made it permanent requirement that employers file copies of their Form W-2 wage and tax statements. There's a link to that here. And W-3 transmittal of wage and tax statements. There's a link to the W-3 form here with the Security Administration by January 31st. That is also the date the Form W-2 are due to workers. This upcoming tax season, however, January 31st falls on a Sunday, pushing the due dates to the next business day, which is Monday, February 1st. So certain forms, 1099 Miscellaneous Income, there's a link to that here, and Forms 1099 NEC, Non-Employee Compensation, there's a link to that here. That form is relatively new, so you might want to take a look at that non-employee compensation. Some of the information on that form in prior years may have been on the miscellaneous 1099 form, and therefore you may want to just make sure you're filling out the right 1099 form. Back to the text. Are also normally due to the taxpayers on January 31st, but this tax season, they too will be due on the next business day, February 1st, 2021. Various other due dates related to the Form 1099 miscellaneous, including dates due to the IRS, can be found in the instructions on IRS.gov. There's a link to those instructions here as well. Helping fraud detection. The normal January filing date for wage statements means that the IRS can more easily detect refund fraud by verifying income that individuals report on their tax returns. So by them having, of course, a copy of the W-2 from the employer, when the employee then files the tax return, they have more information that they're more likely to be able to detect possibly fraud when the fraud is occurring. So employers can help support that process and avoid penalties by filing the forms on time and without errors. So on time and without errors, they would like to have it be. That's nice. Okay, so the IRS reminds e-file, there's a link to e-file, as the quickest, most accurate, and convenient way to file these forms. So obviously the IRS is looking for e-file whenever possible to streamline the process. Start early. Good preparation now can help businesses avoid problems later. For instance, employers can get an early start verifying or updating employee information like names, addresses, and social security numbers or individual taxpayer identification numbers. So if you got any updates for the employees that are going to cause you a problem when you process the W-2s, send out the W-2s, and so on and so forth, you probably want to check that out, send out the verification emails. Is this information correct, employees that we have on file that we're going to be putting on your W-2? If not, let us know. We'll make the adjustment so that we can send out the W-2s on time as required. So they should also ensure their company's account information is current and active with the Social Security Administration before January. Businesses should also order paper form W-2 early if needed. So if you need the W-2 forms, make sure you have the W-2 forms, the things you need to file the taxes on time or file the information returns, the W-2s and W-3s and so on. Automatic extensions of time to file Form W-2 are not available. The IRS will only grant extensions for very specific reasons. Details can be found on the instructions for Form 8809 application for time to file information returns. There's a link to that here. So if you do need an extension and you think you might have this special reason that the IRS might actually accept, then you can take a look at more information here at that link. For more information, read the instructions for Forms W-2 and W-3. There's a link to those forms here, and information return penalties page on IRS.gov. There's also a link to the information return penalties page, and there'll be a link to this in the description.